Guess what, bitch? Coronavirus! Coronavirus! Shit is real! Shit is getting real! Shit is real! Coronavirus! Shit is real! Shit is getting real! Shit is real! Coronavirus! Shit is real! Shit is getting real! Shit is real! Coronavirus! Shit is real! Shit is getting real! Shit is real! Coronavirus! Shit is real! Coronavirus! Shit is real! Coronavirus! Shit is real! Shit is getting real! Shit is real!
Hold up.
23 more corona cases here on home soil, and Eskom is hoping to keep your power on for a third day in a row. Good morning, I'm Tara Penny. It's the breaking development around the COVID-19 pandemic. There are now 85 confirmed cases of the coronavirus here in South Africa. In an overnight update from Health Minister Zweli Mkhize, government confirmed 23 new infections, 8 of which were local transmissions. This means citizens contracted the virus without travelling abroad. South Africa has declared a state of disaster with mass events cancelled, schools closing, and international travel restrictions to prevent the virus from spreading kicking in this morning. Mia Lindiki has more on these new infections.
Gauteng has at least 14 new coronavirus cases, the majority of whom had travelled to the UK and the US. There are also 4 confirmed cases of local transmission in this province, involving people who have no international travel history. Gauteng still accounts for half of the COVID-19 cases in the country, with 45 infections in total since the outbreak. KwaZulu-Natal's infection rate has also increased with 4 new cases. Health Minister Zweli Mkhize has revealed that 2 of these patients are children under the age of 6 who have not travelled abroad. The Western Cape has recorded the youngest confirmed coronavirus case so far, a 2-year-old boy who was infected without leaving South Africa. Among the 5 new infections in the Western Cape is a 3-year-old boy who had recently visited the UK. Mia Lindiki, Eyewitness News.
The Banking Association of South Africa and the Reserve Bank are discouraging the public from making mass withdrawals. This follows scenes of panic buying across the country after the president declared that national state of disaster. Tato Matlakwana has more.
As the Banking Association of South Africa announced several efforts to protect workers and consumers amid COVID-19, the Reserve Bank is concerned about fake claims that is recoiling money from the public. The association's managing director, Kes Kovadia, explained that the organization will be meeting with the Reserve Bank to discuss various contingency measures, among other interventions.
The operational risk people are meeting. SARB has a financial sector contingency forum, and so they're just discussing contingency issues at an operational level in the event of certain, so you stress test certain stuff.
Kovadia says individual banks are also responding to the crisis and putting mechanisms to limit the spread of the virus, such as allowing employees to work from home. Meanwhile, the Reserve Bank has clarified that it has not withdrawn banknotes and coins, urging members of the public who are approached by criminals who say they must hand in their cash to contact local police. Teto Mahlakwana, Eyewitness News.
The Zion Christian Church has postponed its annual Easter pilgrimage to Maria in light of the outbreak. Every year, hundreds of thousands of ZCC followers descend on the church's headquarters in Limpopo to celebrate Easter. The church says this decision to put the pilgrimage on ice was taken after a meeting with government. Taking a look at some of the other major developments globally now, Australian Prime Minister Scott Morrison has declared a human biosecurity emergency, advising the country's citizens to abandon all overseas travel because of the epidemic. This formal declaration gives the government the power to close off cities or regions, impose curfews and order people to quarantine if deemed necessary in order to contain the spread of the virus. The Trump administration is pressing for enactment of a $1 trillion stimulus package, possibly with $1,000 direct payments to individual Americans in order to blunt the economic pain from the outbreak that's killed over 100 people in the country, with cases of the respiratory illness reported in all 50 states and the total number of known U.S. infections surging past 6,400. Millions of Americans have hunkered down at home instead of commuting to work or going to school. Colombia's president has declared a state of emergency as the country steps up measures to stop the spread of the coronavirus, including ordering the elderly to stay home from Friday until the end of next month. Brazil will seek authorization for a state of emergency to allow it to scrap fiscal targets and free up funds to combat the crisis, as President Jair Bolsonaro announced his second COVID-19 test was negative. In a statement from that presidency, the government said it would ask Congress to authorize state of emergency measures until the end of December. UK government-backed loans worth £330 billion and a 3-month mortgage holiday have been announced by the Chancellor as part of unprecedented measures to help businesses and families. Rishi Sunak unveiled the package of support at a Downing Street news conference as he said the UK faced an economic emergency in the face of the pandemic. And imported coronavirus cases in China outnumbered cases of location transmissions for the 5th straight day as infected travelers passed through major Chinese transportation hubs in Beijing, Shanghai, Zhengzhou and Shenzhen. Mainland China had 13 new confirmed cases of the coronavirus infections yesterday. That's down from 21 cases the previous day. Of the new cases, 12 involved infected travelers arriving from abroad. The global number of infections is nearing the 200,000 mark with almost 8,000 deaths. However, more than 83,000 people have recovered. For all the latest developments around the pandemic, you can go to ewn.co.za/coronavirus. And Eskom is warning its power system remains vulnerable and constrained this morning. The utility says it's not planning to implement load shedding today, but it may need to if there's a shift in performance. It's again calling on everyone in the country to reduce demand on the fragile grid. Gold's at $1,530.88 an ounce. The rand's at 16.56 to the dollar, 20.05 to the pound, 18.25 to the euro. Brent oil's at $29.12 a barrel.
In the traffic at the moment, there's an accident scene on the M1 northbound near the Killarney exit and the Killarney bends as you just come out of those bends. Also, traffic lights, William Nicholas, slow night in Bryanston, Woodmead Drive and the M1's out, as well as Rivonia Road and South.
In your sport, Minister Nathi Mthethwa says the PSL likely to go ahead behind closed doors. Euro 2020 and Copa America have both been moved to next year to allow leagues to be completed. And still no word on the Olympics being called off or suspended.
A cloudy morning ahead for Gauteng with scattered showers and then isolated thunderstorms in the afternoon. Joburg starting out at 13 degrees, reaching a high of 24. Pretoria 15 and 26. Vereeniging 14 with a high of 23. The breaking story in Eyewitness News this hour. There are now 85 confirmed cases of the coronavirus here in South Africa.
Eyewitness News. In touch, in tune, and independent. For the latest, download the EWN app.
Dedicate yourself to making a difference. Lead SA. 702 Breakfast with Bongani Bingwa. Live.
Online.
Smartphones.
DSTV.
And 92.7.
And 106 FM.
Rise and shine. 85 cases now confirmed. 8 of them, of course, we know have been local transmissions. And that's really the number to keep